So in this SketchUp snippet, we're going to cover the very basics of using the dimension tool in SketchUp. And we're also going to talk a little bit about why you need the dimension tool and what the purpose of it is. Right now, you're currently in the process of making accurate planning drawings, and so you need to make a drawing that you could potentially hand over to someone else, and they could read it and understand exactly how to make your product and exactly what the sizes are of all the different parts. So, of course, you need to have enough information on there so that that person wouldn't have to come back to you and say, hey, what about this? Okay, so there's a few little tricks and tips that you can employ while using the dimension tool in order to avoid missing stuff out. All right, so that's what we're going to cover. Now, the basics of what you need to dimension are, first of all, how the distance is, how big the distances are from different places on your model, and we'll talk about the exact details of that in a moment. The other thing you need to locate, or the other thing you need to define using your dimensions, is the location of various different features, like, for example, holes and stuff like that. So let's get started. Right, now the dimension tool is this one right here, and you can see it actually, if you float over it, it actually says it's the dimension tool. And my tip for using this successfully is to actually start off with the biggest dimensions on your product and dimension them from one specific point. So you're going to have vertical dimensions and you're going to have horizontal dimensions. Now, it could be horizontal, vertical, vertical, horizontal. You're going to have dimensions in two different directions, especially if you've got a product that has straight sides. So I'm going to take my dimension tool. I'm going to start by deciding, okay, I'm going to make this point here my reference point. I'm going to measure everything from this point. Okay, so first of all, click once here, and then click once here, and drag out. And there you can see SketchUp's already measured it for me, and the overall size is 728 in that direction. Now, what I'm going to do now is get the overall dimension in the other direction, and it's a good idea to get those two first, because then what you can do is you can double check if I make this part of my product, I'm going to need a rectangle of wood or other material that size. That should be the first thing that you dimension. You then go on to do the details. So in this direction, okay, I now need to, from my reference point, dimension the distance from the reference point to here. And I put that inside my main dimension. And then the final thing in this direction is I need to reference, or I need to measure that distance from there to there. And you can see it looks really nice and neat when your biggest one is on the outside, the next smallest is there, and the next smallest is there. I'm going to do the same on the other side. And my reference point for the other direction is this point here, so I'm going to measure everything from that point. So the next one is that one, and the next one is that one. Oh, wait, that one. Okay, now that I have those 6 dimensions on this particular part, I have all the information that I need in order to make this. I know that I need to cut a piece that's 700 by 728. I can then use a pencil and a ruler to mark in a line along here, 175, a line up here, along here, up here, and then I'm able to cut that out using the saw. The only thing that I haven't put on here yet is the thickness, and what I usually do is I take not the dimension tool, but actually this tool, which is the text tool, and then just touch on the part and just write in thickness, and I think the thickness of this is 20, and I put in the unit as well just to be on the safe side. And that is a completely dimensioned part. Okay, in the next video we'll watch it and we'll talk about what you do when you want to dimension the location of an object.